Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Progressive Podcast. It's episode number 4, season 2. You know how we're doing it. We invite young people who are doing great work with their lives. Today, I'm in conversation with a community builder, a mentor, and one of Africa's young, ambitious minds. He mentors African entrepreneurs, and he goes around the country by keeping the fire burning within the young people by giving some inspirational talks. He sits with me today to discuss how we can keep the focus during this time. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Michael Tshepo Tabane. How you doing, big brother?
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm doing very well. I'm doing very well. Very well.
Fantastic.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you so much. Are you keeping safe?
Glad to hear. Glad to hear, buddy.
Are you keeping safe during this time?
No, man, I'm very safe. I'm very safe. As you can see, I'm gaining weight. It means that something is going well.
That's nice. That's nice. How has the
So,
COVID-19 affected you in your work?
so from a work point of view, it has not affected me much because how I've been doing my work in the past has actually not changed at all. I
Yeah.
left like the employment, space a year and a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So I've always been working from home. I've always been working remotely. I've always been connecting with my clients remotely. It's only when maybe I needed like certain meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, the nature of how I do work, it hasn't changed.
Nice.
And then what I can say is that I, I managed to secure a couple of jobs better than I did in the past
Yeah.
because of in times like this, I think my services are mostly needed. That is why I managed to secure like a couple of jobs than I did in the past. Yeah. So it has
Fantastic.
been quite okay.
Fantastic. That's great. I know you're somebody who's about impact and always all and about just making a difference. I need to find out, how did you discover that passion for working with young people and making a difference?
Yeah. So Tumelo, it has been quite number of events or it has been like a series of events that actually contributed to the journey that I took.
Nice.
And then there's many of them, so I can't credit only one incident, but there are ones that actually stand out.
Okay.
So let me name the one that stand out the most. My dad used to be a taxi cab driver, and
Okay.
then one day this other guy was stuck and he did not know what to do,
Yeah.
and then he asked my dad for a lift, and then my dad helped him by just being kind, by virtue of being kind to him.
Mm.
And then that guy extended that kindness further by saying, do you have a son or a child who's in grade 10, 11, or 12?
Yeah.
Because as we speak now, I'm running a Saturday school program in the University of Pretoria.
Nice.
Then I happened to be that child. So so then so then I joined this guy's program at
Yeah.
the University of Pretoria. Before I knew it, long story short, then I ended up being at the University of Pretoria. Then as a result, I ended up being a computer engineer. So today, like I'm a software engineer. Like I develop great apps and all of those things, all those fun stuff. And then it was all because of that.
Fantastic.
So so when that happened at Tumelo is that I then realized, Guti, like I have to make sure that I become that guy to other kids as well.
To pass
So the
on.
journey started exactly pass it on, pay
Yeah.
it forward,
This
so to
whole
say.
thing, we could say that it was started by your dad by being kind and giving a lift to that stranger.
Exactly.
Wow.
Man, like the butterfly effect, you know.
Yeah.
So so yeah, him giving that guy a lift as a result, it
Mm.
ended up, and this guy was mugged, he was robbed, he was mugged. That's why he didn't have money for taxi.
Right.
So that that an unfortunate thing
Mm.
created a chance for me,
Yeah.
you know. So so yeah, so by the way, I reunited with that guy like early this year. We
Yes.
met by accident again, and then yeah, so it was quite a nice one. So but yeah, so I started paying it forward as well, so by going back to my school and then helping the kids there with their schoolwork, and then helping them with their like applying for universities, applying for bursaries, so on and so
Yes.
forth.
Yes.
And as a result, what would happen is that as I help these kids with their schoolwork,
Yeah.
then I get to find out why they're not doing well. And then you find out why they're not doing well is reasons that are very deep, that are very personal. Something's happening at home,
Yeah.
or there is certain limiting beliefs that this child has actually subscribed to for the
Right.
longest periods possible.
Yeah.
And then as a result, then I had to learn more of how human behavior works. I had to learn more about what makes people tick. And then that
Mm.
led to me reading the books that I read. That led me to meeting the people that I met. That led
Mm.
me to meeting the, like going to companies that I went to, being in platforms that I've been at. So all of that was a result of me wanting to pay it forward. Yeah.
Nice, man.
So that's
Nice.
how I actually got into this journey.
Nice. And that has helped you and some big contracts that you're working with right now. You've just previously worked with the African Leadership Academy and the Allen
Yes.
Gray Foundation. Can you just tell us a little bit
Yes.
more about the work that you did with those two organizations?
So ALA, African Leadership Academy, what I did with them is that I was their what we call a board member for their school enterprises.
Yeah.
So they have the school enterprises within the school. So
Yeah.
what is happening is that the students themselves, they have the school enterprises, and then they need coaches, they need mentors to help them go, like go about their work. And then within the school enterprises,
Yeah.
they are categorized differently.
Yeah.
And then I was one of the board members of the school enterprise, of one of the school enterprises. And
Mm.
as years went by, there is another wing of ALA, African Leadership Academy, is called Anzisha.
Yeah.
Anzisha is a prizing or is an award ceremony that celebrates young entrepreneurs from the age of 15 till the age of 22. So across the continent. So what I was doing there, I was a mentor who was preparing these finalists to know how to pitch projects, how to build like marketing campaigns and marketing
Right.
models, how to build like good financial models, so on and so forth. So me being there, I was one of their mentors. Those are the two main things that I did with them, other than other work that I did with them that is very minute. But those were the two main ones. And with Alan Gray, what I was doing there is that I was part of Allen Gray Foundation. The Allen Gray Foundation, they
Yeah.
have this program whereby they are mentoring, they're trying to imprint or instill entrepreneurial mindset in the lives of young people.
Right.
So what they are saying is that the notion that they are building their thing on is that you don't necessarily have to be an entrepreneur, but you can be entrepreneurial in everything that you do. So that's the why the mentoring part comes in. So I did that for them. Yeah. And other than that, there are two other mentoring platforms that I was asked to be part of. The first one is this other one called Mentorship South Africa. There was actually like a TV show for that. And then I was part of that as well, where I'm linked to a couple of mentees, and then I mentor them. And this other one, NMW, is actually network for mentorships, like Mentorship South Africa. So that's is a governmental thing. That one, I was part of that as well. So yeah. Apart from that, I've been doing my own one as well.
Nice, man. That's great. And with mentioning the work that you did, what
Yeah,
have you
sure.
realized that what's important about being a mentor, and how do you go about with selecting a mentor?
Or MNT. Okay. Okay. If I'm selecting a mentor and or selecting MNT.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So one is that is very important, and then how I can stress the importance it is that every successful person that you will find, every successful person that you find, you'll find out that um, there was one adult who was dedicated to helping that specific child. Um, so then, so then, as a result, then you realize that having an elderly person, being the one who facilitates the process of a boy becoming a man or a girl becoming a woman, or or any young citizen becoming an elderly citizen, like facilitating that process is very important. And then there are few things that make it very important, amongst other things, of course. So um, every time when I have this kind of topics, I always talk about the four basic needs that human beings have. Number one is the need for significance. We need
Yep.
to feel important. Number two is the need for security. We want to feel secure wherever we are. That's why we choose the jobs we choose,
Correct.
so that we can have that sense of security. And number three is the need for adventure. So that's we want to be hip and happy. We want to be fun. We want to be out there. We want to be glamorous. We want to add some flavor, to our to our existence, so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
the best example that I like to take when it comes to adventure is Elon Musk. Elon Musk is one of the most adventurous people you can think of. So
Right.
most of his success is predicated on his need to wanna be a child like forever. So
Nice.
he's always on this mindset of wanting to be. He's always childlike. He's not childish. He's
Mm.
childlike. So his energies are always like childlike. He wants to see if you can go to to Mars and other planets and so on and so forth. He creates cars that look like toys. You know what I mean? That's adventure. So again, we have a need for love and belonging. We want to be loved. We want to belong somewhere. So all of these needs, they are in different quantities. You know, um, for every person, we have them in different proportions as human beings. So you'll find out that you have like your highest need is the need for significance. We find out my one is the one for love and belonging. And what happens is that our values are the ones that tells us which one is more important to us. So what these kids are going through, it is that they have to either way satisfy all of these needs. Whatever that is important in this list, they have to satisfy it. So whatever that they can access as a tool to satisfy these needs, they will do so. And sometimes it's dangerous things. Sometimes is as dangerous as picking up like a knife or a gun, so that they can be felt or be important, so that they can other people can see that this person is important. This person is the boss or is the bully, whatever the case might be. Some they do it with having like 100 girls, in their pockets. Um, some will, like they do all these excessive things because as those are the only tools they have access to in order for them to satisfy these needs that I talked about. So if
Right.
you don't have a mentor, it's gonna be a problem. You need a mentor who will come and say, "My boy, you don't have to pick up a knife to show that you're important.
Absolutely.
There are other things that you're brilliant at. You are talented at one, two, three. You are a brilliant soccer player. I know Tumelo knows some guy who's actually doing some talent scouting for soccer players. Let's take you there. So you are channeling that energy and then making sure that you're using the right tools to actually meet those needs that I spoke about. So
Interesting, man.
for that reason, mentorship is very important.
Interesting. You're right. It makes perfect sense. We all need somebody who can we can look up to that can guide
Yes, sir.
us along the ways.
Hmm.
The reason why I brought you onto the show is that we're living in difficult times and there's so much of uncertainty.
Yep.
I needed to understand what is your take on how we can keep the focus during this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a tricky one. Eh? Uh, so focus is something that I don't like to talk about before I talk about this thing called peace. So I believe that we first need to reach the state of peace before we can like fully focus. So how do you get to the state of peace? You know, when chaos introduces itself, the first thing it attacks is your peace. And then your peace is what you need to actually survive it. Because without peace, you lose perspective. Without peace, you tend to exaggerate the negative impacts of a situation. You exaggerate them. You make them to look so gigantic, like bigger than they actually are. Without peace. So that's why people who are biblical, people who believe in God, who believe in the Bible, they will always tell you about this scripture that says, "Be still and know that I'm God." Being still does not mean that you have to sit on your couch and sit on your bed and do nothing. Being still, what it means, it is that fixing the turbulence inside your heart, fixing that turmoil that you have in your thoughts, like that terror that you have in your thoughts. That's the one that you need to fix. That noise is the one that you need to actually quieten, so that you become at ease, you become at peace, so that there's tranquility here and here as well. So once you do that, then now you can now gain perspective. So how do you get to the state of peace? So you get to the state of peace by, like, I have a simple 4 step that I believe is very effective. Number one is that you need to be very informed. Inform yourself about what is happening. If you don't inform yourself about what is happening, you are most likely to be stressed over something, over misinformation, over something that is not factual. Inform yourself, educate yourself about what is happening. And then as you keep on educating yourself, no matter how unsettling or how scary the truth might be, I promise you the truth has this magic thing of setting you free. No matter how ugly it is, it'll always do that. It'll always do that, because what it does is that it brings your senses to reality. It brings your senses to reality, and then it also invokes your talents or your gift to actually become instrumental and influential and useful to the situation. But you're not going to be useful to the situation if you are not admitting the truth. And while you are busy, massaging yourself inside the lies that make you feel comfortable. So educate yourself. That's number one. Number two, it is that I'm talking about reaching the state of peace, right? Uh, Number two, what you need to do, you need to you need to then use a similar past to can create a perspective for the present. Because of the past, nothing is new under the sun. There are certain things that happened in the past that are sort of like repeating themselves, reoccurring now. And then when you have a similar past to look at, then it will give you hope for what is happening today. Then you'll be like, okay, I see. Stuff like this happened before. This is not for the first time we've been hit by something like this. Then as a result, humanity managed to thrive then humanity can thrive now as well. Even now, we are at a better position than we were then, because of now we have more, more advanced technology, more advanced medical equipment than we did then, more doctors than we had then, more, uh, medical practitioners, or like, you know what I mean, than we did then. So as a result, then we can actually get to a solution better than we did before. You know. So then once you do that, that thing, it helps you. It helps you to actually calm your nerves. Then you start to find out, okay, I'm more informed now. I'm informed. Now I'm looking at the past. The past is helping me to gain perspective to see that this thing can actually happen. So that this thing can actually be remedied and stuff like that. So the nerves will actually ease a little bit. They will go down a little bit. And then another thing. So once you start to reach the state of peace, what it happens now, it is that it gives you perspective. Once you gain perspective, now you can think of things of like focus. So how do you focus?
Mm,
Focus is something that you can never achieve if you don't have any intention.
absolutely.
Focus is subservient to intention. Focus is a slave of intention. So if you have an intention, you have no other choice but to focus, because of there's an intention to to be achieved. So an intention is nothing else but the energy that infuses the deed, or that infuses the doing. Whatever task you have at hand, it is infused or energized by intention. Without an intention, you'll see that whatever that you do has no impact. It has no it has no drive. There's nothing behind it. So that is why you and I, when we started with our show, like, we took the whole 30 minutes trying to get our setting right. We're like, hey, Tepo, we need to get the thing right. Like, can you fix the angle? Can you do this? Can you do that? Like, if you had no intentions of coming up with a quality podcast that people can learn something from, then it wouldn't matter to you. You'd be like, ah, man, it's fine, man. You can do this thing like like in a seat of your bathroom. It's fine. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's basically
exactly. Because
you. Before, I like that. I like how you're putting
yeah,
it. You first need to achieve peace, and from there you can focus on the focus itself.
yes,
But the focus itself,
yes.
there has to be an intention that you want to achieve something.
Exactly,
Right?
and that intention itself, by itself, it pushes you to focus. Yeah.
Nice, man. Now, in closing, I wanted to, here on Progressive Podcast, we encourage Pan-African views. So in closing, I want to
Yes, sir.
understand, what is your hopes and dreams for Africa, and
Yeah.
what kind of Africa would you like your children to grow up in?
Why are you asking MBA questions, man? Those are difficult questions, bro. Um,
Hey, I'm a
those are the
passionate
questions to
African. I'm a progressive African. On this platform, we
yeah.
invite progressive Africans like you. So I want
Mm,
to get to gain their perspective on such
yeah.
matters.
Sure. Like there's there are so many views that I have about Africa. There are so many wishes that I have about Africa. Um, Let me touch only on the few ones that are very important to me, very close to my heart. I I wish that uh, African spirituality could be made a norm and not a voodoo, not a practice that is seen as for lack of a better word, as a mystery or as a bizarre thing to do. I believe that African spirituality is one of the things that will anchor us and then help us detect exactly what was happening, like exactly how strong, how intelligent, how powerful our people used to be about 10, 12 generations, like generations that we don't even know.
I think you're basically
You know,
saying back to our roots, just in essence.
back back to our roots,
Let's
back to
encourage
our roots.
back to our roots as Africans.
Let's encourage back to our roots. Let's go back to our norms. Let's
I'm
go back
about
to our
that.
norms.
I'm
And
about that. Because we Africans, we
yeah.
used to be kings and queens, man. Who are we today? There is a song by Nas and Damian Mali. Who are we
Mm,
today? Back in
mm,
the day, we used to be kings and queens, but who are we today? I think we just plugging in
mm,
to
mm.
a different world than what is not ours. So I think
Exactly,
I like that. I like that. Back
exactly, my
to
brother. Exactly, my brother. You know, like let's go back to our roots. I remember the late, God bless his soul, the late Ntate Credo Motwa. Um, he he said something that was very important. He said that Africans back in the days before we could even, like, in the times where even our eyes cannot reach, they used to be friends to nature. They used to be friends to the universe. So when they see a plant dying, like they feel the pain, they'll even talk to it and say, "Hey, plant, what's wrong? Are you okay? What's happening? What should I do?" And like they would talk with plants, and then they're like, and then he said, when you saw a rock or a stone, you saw what it could be, not what it was. You could see like a building, a monument coming out of the stone, you know, because of they were friends with nature.
we were powerful
So
beings, man. We were very powerful beings.
powerful, bruh, powerful to a point whereby, like, like there's huge belief that like Africans knew how to communicate with nature and animals and then other forces of nature. So back then, hence we have Bukhoshi Mujaji, the Queen of Rain. So such things, whether you believe in them or you don't, the main fact is that our people used to live that way and then they survived. So yeah, back to our roots is one thing that I wish for Africa. Number two, the other one that is very close to my heart, is that I wish we could be very confident and know how smart, how intelligent we are as Africans. And then I don't like, to be fairly honest with you, man, and I don't want to be misquoted. I don't like this thing of black excellence, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. So I want excellence to be excellence. I want us to be excellent to a point whereby you don't need to put us in a category of black. You know what I mean? So if Tumelo is good with what he does, we measure him based on like universal international standards, not because of his one of the black achievers. I like I feel like when we do that, and then to a certain extent, to be honest with you, and I like to make this point because of I don't want people to come and fetch me because of I know they will fetch you. Eh? So I want to make sure that they don't fetch me. So I do understand the whole concept of talking more about Black excellence because of it needs to be celebrated. It needs to celebrate the things that we are achieving now are things that we need to achieve in the past. I understand that 100%.
I
So
think to
all I'm
cut you,
saying,
I think to cut you short there, I think what you're trying to say is that let's not put Black within the whole excellence thing. Let's just practice excellence as it is.
let's be excellent. Let's be good at let's be good at what we do.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
let me not take your service because you're Black. Let me take your service
yeah.
because of you are the best at what you do.
Perfect.
And then not,
And
yeah. And then
and
if
on
you're
that
comparing
one,
yourself, yeah.
on that one, because we press with time, I just want to thank you so much for coming through on the show and
Okay,
for
sure. No
giving us
problem.
your input. I really appreciate it. There is more work that we're gonna keep doing. Let's keep the network, and there's so much work to be done as soon as
Thanks,
we
my
get
brother.
back to normal. But thank you so much for coming through, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you so much for making me, yeah, like for making this like difficult in the beginning.
No problem. Quality over everything.
I like that. Thanks, brother.
Thanks,
Cheers,
man.
man.